That is good match management by Hikaru Nakamura. Remember, we see the eval bar go up and down. The players have no idea, and that looked like an equal position. The same amount of material for both sides. So now we're in game 7. It's 4-2 Hikaru. Are we going to see a King's Indian from Magnus?
We might. We saw King's Indian earlier from Hikaru. Magnus saying, give me some of that. Will Hikaru play Bishop D3? Oh my gosh, he does! We have the same position with colors reversed. A little match strategy, a little verve from Hikaru Nakamura, and smiles by only one player. Magnus is not amused.
Just like the recent movie, that smile is not pleasant. That is going to haunt Magnus Carlsen because Bishop D3 induces Bishop G4, looks very logical, and then the Bishop would have gone back to E2. So he said, anything you can do, I can do better. And he just says, let's go, Magnus. You're going to have to come up with something new.
And another perk of putting the Bishop on D3 is that it can slide back to C2. And later on, once the Knight appears on C5, as it frequently does in the King's Indian, the pressure on E4 often forces White to contort himself. With the Bishop nicely sitting on C2, White can just keep going about his business. In this move H3, we saw Carlsen play G4. Hikaru says, you can play at that table.
They certainly can. For Magnus, he has to figure out which strike he wants, E5 or C5. He chooses neither. He plays A5. He wants to gain space on the queen side and not allow a bayonet-style attack with pawn to B4. So I think that Magnus is kind of playing this like dodgy chess. He's just sort of avoiding the tension. He's just making Hikaru figure out things. But the issue for Magnus is usually that works. Except this match, Hikaru has figured everything out pretty much to perfection.
He most certainly has, and I think this opening choice by Magnus signifies that he is ready to take on more risk. He wants to wipe this 2-point lead out going into the 3+1 portion. He knows how confident Hikaru is in that notorious Title Tuesday time control, and Magnus doesn't want to let this lead persist because every game you play when you're down by 2, you might go down by 3. Hikaru is not known to give away big leads in the SEC, even against someone of Carlsen's caliber.
No, and you and I both majored in history in college, and well, history for Magnus does not want to repeat itself because the only time he has lost the 5+1 time control was against Maxime Vachier-Lagrave in 2020 semifinals, and guess what? He lost that match. He lost the segment from 4.5, 3.5, and that's the only time that has happened and the only time he's lost in the SEC. So Magnus, he needs to get things right. He needs to just play solidly, not take unnecessary risk, but also kind of make things a bit Magnus, yeah, he's wishful thinking that he is going to get an attack, but look at the clocks. Hikaru had a 2-minute lead. It's now dropped to 1. That's still a hefty margin for him. He's well ahead in the clock, but I just feel like Magnus, he can scare people. And Hikaru's only human. He may play like an engine. He's still a human being. And look at this. He strikes in the center, takes that C5, goes D6, and the eval art doesn't love it, or the view, it gets white activity. And that's exactly what you want.
Oh, and it also gets white a huge fork threat and another fork threat. And how do you parry both at the same time? Because F takes C5 is also on the docket to open up the D file. Oh, I think F takes C5 and Queen F2 just looks terrible for black. Everything's falling apart at the seams.
I think that was a brilliant try from Hikaru. The pawn sacrifice. He didn't even take back on D6, which he could have. He hops his knight into D5. It was a clearance move. And now knight F6 checks a big threat. In D5, as you said, rook F1 or queen F2 actually looks even stronger. Hitting C5, going to F6,
F7.
hitting F7. Ugh. Everything is under attack.
And apparently, Robert, I'm going to rewind for just a second. The only move in this position was knight to H5 to keep in contact with the E5 pawn. This is such an engine move, just dropping the knight back toward the corner. Magnus played the obvious move. He's down to 30 seconds. He's backpedaling furiously and trying to keep the center patched up. I think Hikaru can play ED. I think he can play Queen F2. This is like the worst kind of position to have against Nakamura with 30 seconds left on your clock.
Although B takes C4 is an option, the B file is open, and be very careful of your Hikaru. Do not take your eyes off the B2 pawn. If black can mine queen and rook up, there are checkmate threats, but the knight on D5 covers F6, so the queen can't get there. It covers B6, the queen can't get there. Bishop E6 is trying to eliminate white's best piece.
All you can eat, Hikaru just grabbing and eating, but apparently the eval art didn't like this move. What's the defense? I don't think Magnus can find this in 14 seconds.
No, he goes knight takes C7, queen D6, knight F6 check. Gets the queen right back, knight C7, as you're pointing out, also looks very sharp, but queen H8. Wow, that is so easy to miss.
And then things get crazy. You can go E5, the knight jumps into C4. If Hikaru had 15 seconds at this point, hey, this would have been a game, but he's got a minute 40. He's got an eternity on the clock to figure this out, and he starts with E5.
Okay,
oh my gosh.
Not mugged by the engine. Rook B5, if queen takes E6, you swap queens and with a D5 knight, so you gotta keep your material. And speaking of material, white is only up 1 pawn. Queen takes F6.
Queen takes B5 as a desperado. He's got to move his... Wait, what does Magnus do?
What a shot!
Sacks his knight!
And then rook takes C5 at the end, and then knight... No, knight's not trapped, it's rook B8, wow! This goes right for the pawn.
He just wants an attack, and Hikaru can play like king A1, bishop B1. He can curl up into a ball. Instead, he eliminates the attacker.
And is rook takes A2 a possibility?
But Hikaru going for mate! He wants rook D7!
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this is over.
1 second left, Magnus loses on time. Hikaru Nakamura